Right? Parashat. Sam, what Parashat we in? Parashat Amatzi, okay. It says in the Parashat, Vayakam balayla, and he arose at night, who? Himself. Vayikach et shtei nashav, he took both wives, v'et shtei shivchotav, and the two maids, v'et 11 ילדיו, ויעבור את מעבר יבוק. And he passed the Ma'abar, the passage of Yabok. Yabok is a river or creek that it's one of the feeders of the Jordan River. And what Yakov is doing here, it's really like excellent military maneuver. What he's doing, assuming that Esav is over there, he's taking the initiative and he's crossing the passage at night. So he has the element of surprise. That's one thing. Because all of a sudden, Esav wakes up in the morning, hello, everybody's there, right? And he also reduces the fact of being vulnerable, crossing the river, the whole entire entourage crossing the river. When you cross the river, you're vulnerable. So he's basically using two different, he's using that technique of passing at night and taking it to advantage in two different ways. Which is really beautiful what he's doing. Vayikachem vayavirem et hanachal vayavor et asher lo. Now crossing water obstacles, it's not a simple thing. It's not a simple thing. Yes, it makes it much simpler and fun if it's, let's say, for example, I would say, I don't know, like 20 inches high, and you're driving a nice GX 470 with a filter, with a snorkel. Wow, that's a nice haircut over there. And a nice you have a snorkel on top and the big, biffy tires. It's just like, whoa, mama, bring it on to me. Love this thing, right? What are we doing here driving in New York? Crying out loud. Yes, the pothole, you know what? I'm telling you, I think driving in New York City or going overlanding, if you have to compare both, driving in New York City is more difficult terrain, and with all kind of bunch of lunatics going there, I would take 4x4 with mud than driving in New York City.
You need the lift kits over here.
Not only the lift kits, I'm concerned with even driving this big car. I'm concerned I'm going to fall down into a pothole when I end up in China. Like over there. Go figure. Anyway, so. It's a really, hey, you look like a Marine. Actually, you look like a Green Beret. So I'll give it to you. Yeah. So he moves them at night, and he passed everybody. He lets them, and then all of a sudden it says, "Vayivater Yakov levado." It's very bizarre. Vayivater Yakov levado, and he was left alone. Why was Yaakov left alone? Well, one reason when Yaakov was left alone is, anybody knows? Before they get the pachim, everybody the pachim. Yaakov was left alone because he did not have a Jewish search and rescue unit. Mm-hmm. Oh, sure is. And if you want some apparel from Jewish Search and Rescue Unit, you can log into our Yeshiva website, and we gladly send you one. Or 2 or 3. So he was left alone. Rule number 1, you don't leave anybody behind. You know why? Because we say, no Jew left behind. But still, he was left alone. And when he was left alone, it says, "Vayavek ishimo ad alot hashachar," and he did krav maga with someone until dawn. Now, basically, he was doing hand-to-hand combat all night long. And I'm not referring to the AC/DC song. And That's very weird. And when we have such burst of weirdness in the parasha, it is time to really slow down and understand what's going on here. Now I'm going to tell you this. This parasha is loaded, mamash loaded, with Kabbalistic secrets and hints and so on and so forth. You could write a whole library on these things. It's really loaded. Maybe we'll touch some of them today, not all of them, but I'm telling you it's packed. So we need to really understand what in the world is going on there. So how is it possible, again going back to this, how is it possible that Yakov was left alone after he moved everybody with him? Nobody says, excuse me, hey, where's Yakov? Right? And why was he separated from the group, from his platoon or whatever he was at? So in Masechet Chulin, in Daf Tzadik Aleph Amud Aleph, Chazal say the following: Vayivater Yaakov levado, and Yaakov was left alone. Amar Rabbi Elazar, nishtayer al pachin ktanim. Thank you. He was left on small canisters. Interesting that it's pachin with the chaf, not in chet. It says, so one second, before I'm going to continue with this, once again, Rabbi Elazar, with all due respect, and believe me, with all due respect, is Yaakov Avinu one of those guys who pushing a cart, like a shopping cart, and collecting stuff to recycle? What was it doing? And that's bizarre. And the statement that Rabbi Elazar makes afterward is a conclusion for what he concludes from that is even more bizarre. It says, Mikan letzadikim shechavivi elahem memonam yoter megufam. What? From here I learned, Rabbi Elazar says, that the righteous people, their possessions and their money is more important to them than their body? For tzaddikim? For righteous people? What? We don't understand what's going on here. And that was not a micro-expression, by the way. Yeah, I saw you. Anyway, and why is that? V'kol kach lama, and why is that? Lefi she'en poshtin yadehen bagezel. That's just getting weirder and weirder. The only reason why they like their possessions more than their body is because they don't steal and they don't cheat. I don't know, man. I think I need a drink. Where's the tequila?
On my table.
Okay. So Yaakov stayed alone after he passed everybody through, and then he went to the other side of the Nachal. Of course, Nachal Kabbalistically refers to many things, and that also has to do with Chanukah, by the way. The word Nachal, when we Bezat Hashem, maybe we spoke about it, we talk about Chanukah. The Nachal refers to, there's a Kabbalistic reference to Nerot Chanukah, and the Pachin also have to do with Pach Hashemen. But Dayar Etzara B'Shad, I'm going to talk about it, Bezat Hashem, at the time. Hey Tzaddik. There is some chulet here, marvelous chulet. So, let's put it this way. So he wanted to see, okay, so maybe he was not doing recycling. So let's say he wanted to check they didn't leave anything behind. But Bemet, Yakov, come on. This is such a dangerous time. They're gonna go into something. You left something behind, so you left it behind. What's going on here? So the reason for this likeness, that Yaakov likes his mammon, his money, it's not just a personal trait of Yaakov Avinu, according to Chazal, but it's something that's quite typical to all righteous people, or people at that spiritual level. And the reason of that is, as they say, Lefi she'em poshtin yadeim bagezel, because they are honest in the way they conduct business. And Rav Hirsch is mefarish based on that. He says something very, very different or very interesting that for that. So Rav Hirsch says a rechush, belonging, that a tzaddik, a righteous person, has awarded in an honest way. In other words, he didn't cheat, he didn't steal, he didn't rob, he got it, he worked hard for his money, or for whatever he got. Even if it's only worth a penny, according to Rav Hirsch, that whatever he got is considered to be kadosh in his eyes. That has a certain level of holiness to it. And then there's a tremendous thing that Rav Hirsch is telling us here. It's a tremendous thing. And it says, belonging to the tzaddik got, even if it's only a coin that it's worth, it's holy, and he's not going to waste it, and it's not going to destroy it or waste it in vain, and he feels responsible for the appropriate usage of that particular object that now belongs to him in a righteous way. And according to a person like this that feels responsible, so to certain things, thousands of dollars will be for him as the price of a shoestring, and sometimes a shoestring to him will be worth it thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. Now it depends on your attitude and exactly why you look at it here. Now, if you have some kind of monetary, resources or item, and it is going to be wasted for no reason, for no purpose, right? Then something is wrong with that. I'm going to tell you this. Lehavdil, separate. Just an example. If a person has a child, is he going to, assuming the person is normal, is he going to treat his child better than anybody else? After all, this is his child. Rav Hirsch says here that there is a certain correlation between the way you treat your belongings to the honest way or dishonest way that you had gotten it. Now, if it is whatever you got, whether it's a cup or a glass of water, a bottle of water, or $100 or $1 million, if you got it in an honest way, right? Since you did it, so therefore there's a kedushas, it will seem holy for you because you understand where this money is come from, where this belonging come from. And you understand that it's from Hashem, and that's going to be holy for you. The act of it is going to be holy for you. And even if you have a lot of money, but you have now a great cause to, let's say for example, achnasat chatan vekala. By the way, if somebody wants to donate money in the next week, Be'ezrat Hashem, I'll try to distribute some money for a kala. After that, I can't do it on Friday because I'm going to a procedure. So, but I have a week to collect money for achnasat kala. If somebody wants, if I'm not here, give the money to one of the guys. They'll put it in an envelope and then I'll give it to the people. So for something so noble and great, Alo Yitzchak, like achnasat kala, kach sam chulet. So therefore, what's Achnasat Kala? It's a great thing. I'm becoming a partner in building a Beit Ne'eman B'Israel. I'll spend. For something that, let's say for example, you need another pair of shoes, you don't need a pair. How many pairs of shoes do you need? What are you, Imelda Marcus? How many pairs of shoes do you need? So for the pair of shoes, hey listen, if you bought shoes for $150, but you have about 50 in your closet, so don't, just give it. So it's not a big deal. What's $150? Give 500, no big deal. So for something that is great, it seems to him like nothing to waste. But for something that it's, so spend it. For something that it's not worth it, and Tzaddik says, listen, I don't want to waste it. No, Lama. I work hard for it. It comes from a holy source. I know I cleanse myself. I don't just go it. So you see there's a certain correlation that Tzaddik, or that liking that Tzaddik has, like Yaakov Avinu is showing us. It's not because Yaakov Avinu Chas v'Shalom is cheap. It's not that he needs this 5 cents of returning bottles to recycle. It's not because of that. But the reason is because money or any possessions that you have is really meant to serve a very specific and hopefully lofty reasons. It was giving it to you. And don't think that you're not going to give a din v'cheshbon for that. HaKadosh Baruch Hu allow you to buy some fancy pots. Why would you cook shrimp and not kosher stuff in it? Instead of that, cook kosher. Imagine. And so on and so forth with everything you have. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us legs. To what? To run. Elu ratzim ve'anu ratzim. They are running and we are running. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you abilities. For what? How are you going to use it? If you understand where it's coming from, you together with that, you're going to develop sense of importance to it and responsibility to it, and you're going to make sure that it's going to be waste or spent only on good things, on lofty things, and it won't be difficult for you to let go of it. But when you cheat and you're dishonest, you lose perspective. So a person that spends a lot of money or to go some crazy vacation where he could take this money and let's just spend whatever amount of money and allow a guy, a Talmid Chacham, to sit all year long to learn in Kollel and really to learn, or to help a Kala, or 2, or 3. Let's say you go on a cruise. I don't know how much the prices are today, but let's say you go on a cruise that will cost you like, I don't know what, $40,000, $50,000. People will not think about it, but Ribono Shel Olam, for $50,000, you could revive a family that will have decent food for Shabbat for the whole year. And you're going to where? What's wrong with you? What, the money is not kadosh? Most likely, it's not. I've never seen a guy, right? I mean, I've seen it many times. A guy goes to a mezuzah store. He wants to buy a mezuzah. Guy says, no, okay, what do you want? Well, I want a mezuzah, a nice one. So, okay, I have mezuzah from $50, I have mezuzahs to $150. Just give me something that is kosher. It's a mezuzah. But I see people, buy a shirt. Oh, well, what's $50? $50. Give me a shirt. Nice. I want custom made. $150, $200 shirt. 1 second. For mezuzah, you're not going to spend. For tefillin, you're not going to spend. But to buy yourself a fancy car, you do? What is wrong with you? Or what is wrong with your money? And we need to understand, that was because a lot of people, unfortunately, pick on Yakov Avinu. Believe it or not. They pick on Yakov Avinu. But they're missing the point of what's the connection. And it's not only him. We see it by Avraham Avinu, the same thing. I'm not going to take anything from the looting. Why do you think Bnei Israel were punished during the Milchemet Midian? Don't take anything. What do you need this for? So, when a person, has that, he needs to also have the appropriate attitude towards his monetary possessions, or money, or whatever that is. And a person who is not taking part in any kind of dishonesty, cheating, anybody, you're not allowed to cheat anyone. And he only uses what he has. He understands that because of his effort, and that he got it, and because Kadosh Baruch Hu gave it to him. So, and because he was really trying to make an honest effort to do it, right? He would say a tremendous chesed that the Ribono Shel Olam gave him that allow him to buy it. Let's say, for example, you have a car, or you bought a car, or you bought a sofa. Did you ever say, Ribono Shel Olam, thank you for allowing me to buy this? Most of us say, man, why did you do this? Why did you buy it? Oh, I have money. I mean, what should I do with the money? Take care of myself. Where's God in this picture? Where is God in this picture? And then you cry that you don't have money. So, where's God? Why didn't he help me? You think Ribono Shel Olam wants you to be in debt? You lived above your means. You didn't see God in the cheshbon. And we all fail with this. We all fail with this. So, when a person, everything comes to you by working hard and being honest and so on and so forth, that, what you got, is priceless. Because now, on that object, there is bracha from Shamayim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu blessed your ma'aseh yadecha. That's why it doesn't make a difference what you do. As long as you do it in an honest way. So whatever you purchase, due to the fact, or you acquire, due to the fact that you got it in an honest way, now there is bracha dwelling on it. Now that becomes holy. And since there is bracha on it, it becomes holy. Why should I give it up? Who wants to give up his bracha? Nobody wants to. And that's what Yakov Avinu, that's what he did, right? And money or monetary means that you got it in an inappropriate way does not give you special treatment now because you have money. Okay? You think because you have a lot of money, you deserve special treatment. I have a lot of money. And that's not true. Because if you got it in this honest way, there's not going to be bracha on it. If there's not going to be bracha on it, guess what? It's not going to live. The bracha is the neshama of the objects. Can a body without a neshama exist? No. So is anything else, action or item without bracha behind it. Or us, ma'aseh yadecha, levarech ma'aseh yadecha. We can exist. So Yaakov Avinu says, listen, I did this in an honest way. I did not steal anything. I made sure to work extra. I went the extra mile. Why should I give it up? There's kedusha in it. It's not an item. It's the kedusha that lives upon it. And that's what it says. That's what he did. That's why it was chaviv on him. Because it was mitbarech b'yidei shamayim. Yaakov Avinu did not care about the item. It's not the item, it's the space in it that holds the bracha. You could have a beautiful vessel. Remember, I told you when I went to Egypt, a beautiful vessel. I went to Egypt 1980 something, 85. Right when I finished with my, actually not right after, but they didn't let me go. But, so I went to, I think it was Luxor or something like that. It was fascinating to see. So I went there and I saw a beautiful vase from alabaster. And I loved the colors and so on. I said, okay, I'm going to buy it. I wanted to buy it. So the guy tells me the price. I pay half, this, we're going down, this, whatever. It's a whole negotiation. But said that we're going this. I said, can I see it? The guy said, okay, see it. I hold the thing and said, holy schnitzel, this is heavy. I look, there's no hole. I said, hey, no hole here. Sure, no. I said, no. I said, hey, if I want to put water, where am I going to put water? Flowers. I didn't buy it. He said to me, no, come. It's just air. I said, no, I don't want solid. I want flowers. I want to put, It's a beautiful thing. But it doesn't hold anything. It doesn't hold anything. What do I need it to collect dust on the shelf? That's a kli without a vessel, without an ability to hold anything. It's useless. You could throw it at somebody's head. I mean, that's about it. But if you want to use it as a kli, you can't. It's a piece of beautiful stone. That's it. For that, I'm going to schlep it all the way from Egypt. You got to be out of your mind. The space is important. The bracha is important. We said it, and I said it to you 1,000,000 times. It's not how much money you make, it's how much bracha there is in your money. Are you counting the bracha in your money? And Yakov Avinu had a lot of bracha. Why? Because he gained it in an honest way. He was a very honest person. Now, we know that always everyone or everything has what we call a soft belly, like a point that is really weak. I mean, you could be a big guy with big muscles. There's certain places in your body that have no muscles. If you get hit there or hurt, as much as that, there are places that are places of weakness. Soft spots. So there are places when we know that when the world was created, there was something happened, and our job is really to fix it. There are places, believe it or not, that cannot be fixed. As much as there are people that cannot be fixed nor could be helped. But there are places that can be fixed. And what you need to do is not even try to get near those places. The place in which he was going on the other side of the Yabok River, creek, there was a place of great darkness that it was above the ability of anybody, including Yaakov Avinu, to fix. Now, the darkness that we're talking about is darkness of spiritual darkness. Yaakov Avinu, what happens there, Yaakov Avinu was trying to do something. He tried to do something there. Now, what does it mean to fix things? When we're talking to fix things, what is it to fix things? So to fix is to take something that has a certain shape to it, and to really assort all its parts and arrange the parts. Take some children to help you. So, and then to fix it. For example, I'll give you a process of that we do, talking about eating. Right? Eating is a process of fixing, sorting. You eat. Your body starts to do things, separates good from bad, good from bad, good from bad. Whatever is good, your body utilizes energy to his body, to itself, to maintain itself. Whatever is beyond usage, your body sends out. When that comes out of your body, it becomes tameh, becomes useless, becomes tameh. That's why you need to wash your hands. So is for everything that comes out of your body. After the assortment, you got to wash your hands. Now, I just told you a big secret to Fika Bala. If you got it, you got it. You didn't get it, come next year. So now, just like as you go, for example, in the lab, or a good mechanic. You can tell a good mechanic by how the place looks. If the place is clean, it's neat, it's a good mechanic. If it's like, oh, where did I put the wrench? And then, I left it in this guy chain, So it's not a good mechanic. You need to go, you can tell a lot like this. So you need to arrange everything to make sure everything goes in, and all of a sudden, oh, 1 second, oh my goodness, I got an extra piston here. Where did this come from? Right? That's why, for example, in the Air Force, every time they work with tools, they count the tools that they use at the beginning when they start working in the day. Then they count it in the middle of the day, and then they count it again after lunch, and then they count it again at night. Because they want to make sure that you didn't leave everything behind. So that's called fixing. Now, the greater the apparatus, the more careful you got to be what you actually fix it or how you go about it. So whatever is good, you connect to the body. Whatever is bad, what we call the psolet, right? You take it out and you throw it away, and that's what we do when, for example, when we eat. And this is basically our job. Our job is, if you want to know what it is, our job is to keep on doing an assortment all the time in everything that we do. The problem when Adam HaRishon made the Averah, made the sin, and from that point on, mankind had a difficulty to determine what's good and what's bad. It was all mixed up like this. Our job is to clarify it. Our job is to really determine what's good and what's bad. And this assortment is done all the time. Now, there is a day, there is time that you don't do the assortment. The assortment is being done by itself. That day is called Shabbat.
Yeah.
That's why on Shabbat there is a melacha that's called borer. And you should not do borer on Shabbat because the brera is done by itself. And now if you look at what we learned in Masechet Beitzah. Beitzah, man.
Yeah.
Right? To separate, the way you separate, you do berur on Shabbat, is ochel mitoch psolet lealtar, but not psolet mitoch ochel. Now you know why borer is asur lefi Kabbalah. Huge secret now I just told you. Huge. So now what? So now there are places that you can fix. I mean, I told you, Jews, Israelis go all over the world. What time is it? Okay, they go all over the world. They make a bracha. You making a bracha. You making a birul. You making an assortment. You're going to Nepal. I don't know what was lost in Nepal. All the Jews go there. They do Pesach. Not cheap. Let's look at things from a spiritual point of view. It's not about the money, it's about something that they need to do so. They do a lot of Beirut. I mean, if you ask me, why would anybody go to India? Go to Scandinavia. It's nice, trees, fjords, beautiful sights there. They might shoot you with bow and arrow, but in India, what you got to do there? There's a tremendous tikkun that needs to be done there. Jews go there and they do the tikkun. And we are here because we need to do the tikkun. However, there are places you cannot do the tikkun. It's a dangerous place that is beyond your ability. For example, one of the reasons we don't eat chazir, pig, or all the other non-kosher critters, is because the klipa around it, it's too great for us to be able to recycle it and to separate good from bad. Since it's too big, it would overwhelm us. It's not because pig doesn't taste good. It's not because lobster doesn't taste good. Go ask any granny at Florida. I want like a lobster, and they crack it like this, and one of the favorite Jewish foods is lobster. And that's when we do Havdalah, it's separation, Ben Ola Choshech, and so on and so forth. Sheshet Hamayam, Yamei HaMaaseh. Everything we do is this process. So we need to understand exactly what we need to do, who we are, what we're doing, and so on and so forth, in order to complete that final assortment. Now, there is a reason why we do that. So, there are places even in your body that you can't, in the body of the animal that is kosher that you can't do. One of them, for example, is gid hanasha. Lenashot is to really take something away from you, or to force you out. So we need to see what gid hanasha exactly had to do. If you eat gid hanasha, in other words, when you eat rump steak or T-bone steak, it might taste good, but spiritually, it does something to you. So, gid hanasha, in the cow you can eat. What do you mean? Cow is kosher, yes. That you cannot eat. There are places in the world that will be dangerous to fly out of. Bermuda Triangle. It's dangerous. Places you can't go. You're gonna go to Nigeria, Boko Haram over there, then you can't go there. You can't disturb, but you can fix it. So don't go there. But Yakov knows what he's doing. And the Zohar says, as much as a person has shasa gidim keneged shasa mitzvot, shasa is 365 for 365 days, that they were not given to you to do, right? So one of them is gid hanasha, and that's again shasa keneged yemot hashana for the 365 of the years, and Tisha B'av is one of them, and Tisha B'av is also a day that you should not be doing certain things, and you see it, because Tisha B'av is the day of Sam'el, the malach of Esav, malach hamavet. That's why you don't do work during this day. And that's why during this day, gid hanasha is associated with Tisha B'Av. And that's why we do what? We don't eat, we don't drink. We try to weaken the spiritual attribute that is associated with that day. So it's not just the rabbi wanted to drive you crazy. Look what happened to Am Yisrael on Tisha B'Av. Bayit Rishon, out. Bayit Sheni, out. Expulsion from Spain, out. Everything, Tisha B'Av, the dangerous day. I have to go to work. Honey, I understand, but you're not going to have bracha on that day. Because it says, anyone who works on Tisha B'Av, eino roeh siman bracha. That money that you made is not going to have bracha in it. It's wasted money, air. It's like monopoly money. Like Bitcoin. Air money. So there are days like this. And it says, and Sam'el, who is one of the Shin Samechei, 365 malachim that really control the days of the year and so on and so forth. And then the Zohar explained the correlation between the days of the year and gid hanasha and Tisha B'Av. So the place in which the malach hurts Yaakov is in Kaf Yerecho. Basically, it's like what I'm suffering, right? He dislocated his hip and affected his sciatic nerve. Gid hanasha is your sciatic nerve. Out. They were fighting, he dislocated it. Yaakov Avinu knew Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He got him into a choke, right? He said, okay, I'm tapping, time to go, I gotta go. That's what happened. Similar, all jokes to the side. He dislocated his hip. And especially the legs are important. Why? Because you establish the whole entire, if your legs are weak, they will not support your body. It doesn't make a difference how strong you are here, but if your legs are weak, you can't be ma'amid da koma, you can't build the whole figure if your legs are weak. And what happened? It goes like this. Regel yamin is netzach, regel small is hod. And all the tzarot, come from hod, which is the fifth Sfeira in Ze'er Anpin, which corresponded with Yaakov Avinu. And where? The Chodesh Av, the fifth month. That is, right? Is the Chodesh Av is the fifth month, and the fifth millennia. On that it says in Daniel, "Vehodi nehefach alay lemashchit," and my hod became a destructive force on me. That's why al ken lo yochlu bnei Yisrael lagid anasha. In other words, that is a place beyond repair. You can't deal with it. It's beyond your abilities. So Yaakov, as being what we call Ze'er Anpin, he goes to fix the shoresh netzotzot, the root of the holy sparks of those vessels, and these are the pachim ktanim, the small vessels that was broken in order to separate from them the holy sparks and take them with him so he could fix whatever was fixed in the time. Those kelim, those vessels, are remnants of the initial kelim. In Kabbalah there's a concept, it's called shvirat kelim, that broke. Those vessels could not retain the light that came down from the Boreh. Those kelim shattered, and now there were small holy sparks hidden. According to many poskim, it's based on the Gemara. One of the reasons that Am Yisrael is going to Galut is to bring back those sparks. Many of the sparks, of the holy sparks, were hidden in souls of Goyim, of non-Jews that became converts. In many places. And we need to go and retrieve them. But we need to make sure, guys, that when we do that, we need to supply our troops, our search and rescue units with the appropriate training. And I'm sorry to tell you, I don't think that we are doing that. We're not sending our people with the right gear. We're not sending our people with the right mental attitude and unit pride that is needed in order to finish this job. Now, whether you're a Navy SEAL in Ramadi, equipped from head to toe, or you are Marine Recon that it's like, I don't know what they gave him there, but you need to have something to fight. We are not doing the right job, and that's one of the reasons that we're losing a lot of Jews along the way. So not only now that we're going to a search and rescue mission to save people that were captive, or holy sparks that were captive, now it's a whole catastrophe because we're losing our own people. Yaakov Avinu tried to prevent those holy sparks from falling into the hands of the darkness. Yaakov Avinu knew that he could do it because he had the tzura of Ze'er Anpin. He went there on his own. He was a spiritual Rambo, lehavdil. He went there on his own for his own search and rescue unit. And when you are going out being responsible for your fellow Jew, you're reaching out, whatever it would take, in a selfless act, you are taking a part in the mission that Yaakov Avinu had initiated. The question is, are you ready for this task? In a selfless way. Since we cannot go there alone, since we are not like Yaakov Avinu, we have to have unity together. Then we become one. Two is one. One is none. You can't do it alone. Gotta have somebody around you. Gotta have somebody to watch your sex. Maybe you'll make it. But you can't be selfish. You have to be selfless. That's what Yaakov Avinu was doing. He said, I'm not letting those people, those holy sparks, from the original Kalim to fall into the hands of darkness. He didn't care about this 10 cents of recycling bins. It's a spiritual war all the time, guys. All the time. But everybody makes a mistake. When Yaakov Abinu bowed down to Esav, created a certain problem for us. Because he was bowing down, he showed, even though he didn't, but he showed externally that I'm bowing down to what Esav represents. Materialism, selfishness. And that's why the only way the complete tikkun of that could be done by someone who did not bow down to it, as the Ari brings, and the only one who could do this job is Binyamin. That's why when Shmuel saw Shaul for the first time, he made a party, because he knew he's from Shevet Binyamin. He's the only one, Ish Yemini. And since this job did not finish, he had to drag all the way to Mordechai. It could have been finished if Shaul would have done the job and finished Agag. But he didn't. And it stayed longer. And then we had to deal with Esther. And that's what needs to be done. So Yaakov Avinu understands of what does it mean of working hard and working hard in the spiritual way and so on and so forth. And Yaakov Avinu wants to make sure that nothing is left behind. Nothing of the holiness would be left behind, because it is impossible to rescue it when it's swallowed in. And we all know people that it's almost too late for them to be rescued. But you should know that some people are beyond rescue. So do whatever you can. Join forces together. Bring people to learn. When people are ignorant, they cannot be saved. We could become weapon of mass instruction. We need to educate people so they would know why are they doing what they need to do. They need to be proud of the fact that they are Jews. If you are not proud at anything, well, you could be a Navy SEAL or Ranger or Marine Recon or Delta Force. If you're not proud of that, you're becoming a liability to your team. If you don't understand and know exactly what your mission is. So the danger is not only to them, the danger is to us as well. Don't sit down, a sitcom, over there, sitting down in Florida where your troops are rolling in mud and blood. Roll your sleeves, jump into that, because they are your brothers. There is a concept, it's called baptism on fire. The Jewish people, unfortunately, were baptized by blood. There should be a strong enough bond for all of us to be selfless and to give one another, to follow the footsteps of Yaakov Avinu, to go and save the holy sparks. Shabbat Shalom.